Foods you'd never suspect can become genuine health hazards when they're stored the wrong way. I'm not talking about packaged items loaded with additives, I mean wholesome natural staples. People think they're protecting by tucking them into the refrigerator. In reality, chilling some of these foods can spark harmful compounds, strip away key nutrients, and quietly push up your risk for chronic conditions like cancer, diabetes, and metabolic disorders. Think about it. Have you ever parked raw potatoes in the fridge believing they'd keep longer, slid an overripe tomato onto a cold shelf, or tossed bread in there to slow down staleness? Those habits may be doing far more harm than good. In this video, I'll break down what refrigeration can really do to these everyday foods and exactly how to store them to safeguard your health. Hit subscribe now so you don't miss practical tips that could truly change your life. Let's dive right in. 7. Honey. Long touted as a healthier swap for sugar, honey does contain natural compounds with anti-inflammatory, antimicrobial, and antioxidant activity. But the benefits can be squandered or even introduce risk if you store it the wrong way. A frequent misstep is keeping honey in the refrigerator. Many assume cold storage preserves quality, yet the opposite occurs. Low temperatures trigger crystallization, separating sugars from water. So the honey turns grainy, opaque, firm, and harder to handle. What often happens next makes things worse. Seeing crystals, people assume the honey has spoiled and fix it by microwaving or heating it directly in a pan. Once honey is heated above 40 degrees, it loses much of its enzymes and antioxidant capacity, undercutting the very properties that give it medicinal value. The solution is simple. Store honey at room temperature in a tightly sealed container, protected from sunlight and humidity. That preserves its natural texture, aroma, and beneficial components. There's a crucial caveat, though. Despite being natural, honey is sugar-dense, and overuse carries risks similar to refined sugar, higher blood, glucose pancreatic strain, elevated triglycerides fat, buildup in the liver, and chronic inflammatory effects. Honey isn't harmless, it's potent, and it should be used like a therapeutic ingredient in moderation. A teaspoon once or twice a day can be helpful in specific situations, such as soothing a sore throat or supporting recovery during a cold. But using honey as a daily, across-the-board sugar replacement can backfire. In excess, your body responds much the same way it does to other sugars: insulin surges, increased hunger, more abdominal fat, and a heightened risk of metabolic disease. 6. Garlic. This is where things get serious. Garlic is a powerhouse food, but store it the wrong way and it can turn into a genuine health risk. While its medicinal benefits are well-deserved, much of that potency can fade if you keep it in the refrigerator, and under certain conditions, the risks go beyond lost benefits. Here's why. Chilling raw garlic, especially once it's peeled or chopped, encourages premature sprouting. Those green shoots running through the clove signal a metabolic shift that diminishes elixin, the key active compound, credited with anti-inflammatory, anti-cancer, and cardio, and neuroprotective effects. With less elixin, you lose the very properties that make garlic so valuable. An even bigger concern is the popular habit of mixing minced garlic with olive oil, sealing it in a jar, and leaving it on the counter for convenience. That setup can foster the growth of Clostridium botulinum, the bacterium behind botulism, a severe illness that attacks the nervous system, can cause paralysis, and in extreme cases may be fatal. The safe approach is straightforward. Keep whole, unpeeled bulbs in a cool, dry, well-ventilated spot away from direct light. If you want ready-to-use chopped garlic without the hazards, freeze it. Mince the cloves portion into small amounts in trays or freezer bags and store in the freezer. You'll preserve flavor, maintain beneficial properties, and most importantly, protect your safety. 5. Bananas. Here's a big one. Bananas are among the most eaten fruits on the planet, yet they're often stored the wrong way. A common habit is to pop them into the refrigerator the moment you get home. That's a mistake. Banana peels are highly sensitive to cold. Once chilled, the skin darkens rapidly even while the flesh remains technically edible. This discoloration isn't normal ripening. It's the breakdown of natural pigments. Inside, the cold does more harm too. It alters texture, so the fruit turns mealy, mutes the flavor, and can reduce the bioavailability of key nutrients. There's another point many overlook. As bananas ripen, their glycemic index rises. A riper banana releases sugars into the bloodstream, more quickly triggering sharper glucose and insulin spikes. Over time, that pattern can fuel increased hunger and fat storage, and it may raise the risk of insulin resistance, diabetes, and even certain cancers. So, what's ideal? Eat bananas at peak ripeness, with a bright yellow peel, no extensive dark spots, and no overly soft sections. For storage, skip the cold and try this instead. Wrap the stems with aluminum foil or plastic wrap. That simple step slows ethylene release delays ripening and keeps the fruit fresh longer. And if you want to prevent waste, freezing ripe bananas is a smart move. Peel and slice them, stash in containers or freezer bags, and later blend into smoothies, fold into pancake batter, or whip up better-for-you desserts. 4. Avocados. Be honest, have you ever tucked an unripe green avocado into the refrigerator thinking it would keep better? That habit can sabotage the texture, flavor, and nutritional quality of one of the world's healthiest fruits. Avocados are cold sensitive, especially before they ripen. Chill them too soon, and you disable the very enzymes that drive natural ripening. The outcome is a fruit that feels firm on the outside, yet turns fibrous within, develops dark patches, tastes slightly bitter, and delivers fewer active compounds. What often goes unnoticed is how bad timing can blunt the avocado's full potential. It can diminish portions of its beneficial fats, the gut-friendly fibers, and the antioxidants that support heart and brain health. The fix is straightforward. Let avocados ripen at room temperature away from the fridge. If you want to nudge the process along, slip one into a paper bag with a banana or an apple. Those fruits emit ethylene, a natural gas that accelerates ripening, and within a day or two, your avocado should be ready. Once the fruit is ripe, refrigeration becomes useful, but limit it to about 2 days. If you've already cut the avocado, add a few drops of lemon juice or place a thin slice of lime over the exposed pulp to curb oxidation, preserving its vibrant color and fresh flavor. And if you know you won't use it soon, freeze it. Frozen avocado stays highly nutritious and works beautifully in sauces, spreads, and guacamole, holding well in the freezer for up to 6 months. 3. Bread. Let's talk about the third mistake that trips up countless people stashing bread in the refrigerator in hopes of keeping mold at bay. It sounds sensible at first, but the cold environment speeds moisture loss and disrupts the loaf's internal crumb structure. What you get in return is bread that turns firm and dry, with its aroma and flavor fading fast. This effect is even more pronounced with whole grain loaves or naturally fermented breads. There's another catch. Refrigerator humidity can work against you. Although the interior may feel cool and dry, there's plenty of moisture circulating, which can actually encourage mold growth rather than prevent it. So what's the right approach? If you'll finish the bread within 2 days, keep it at room temperature, protected from light and excess moisture. An airtight container or a breathable cloth bag both work well. If you need longer storage, freeze it. Freezing is the most reliable way to preserve quality and nutrients while avoiding waste. There's a bonus to this method. When frozen bread is later reheated in a toaster oven or skillet, it develops more resistant starch, a beneficial fiber that supports digestion, steadies blood sugar, and nourishes your gut microbiota. Before we move on to the next, foods people commonly store the wrong way, often with real consequences for health. Tell me in the comments, do you usually refrigerate any of these 3 foods? And have you heard of acrylamide? Now, let's continue to part 2. 2. Tomatoes. Yes, the crisper drawer is where many people stash them. But few realize that cold temperatures disrupt the tomato's internal cell membranes, undermining texture, dulling flavor, and most importantly, compromising its nutritional potential. Chilling halts. Natural ripening, and ripening is precisely when a powerhouse antioxidant lycopene ramps up. Lycopene supports defenses against premature aging, cardiovascular problems, inflammatory processes, and certain cancers by curbing cellular oxidation, the body's slow, silent rust. Put a tomato in the fridge, and you effectively sideline this protective activity. The sensory fallout is familiar. Bite into a chilled tomato, and you often get a watery, mealy bite with a faintly off taste. That's the cold degrading the fruit's structure from within. The fix is straightforward. Keep tomatoes at room temperature in a breathable basket away from direct sunlight. If you'd like to hurry along a green tomato, set it beside a banana or an apple. Those fruits emit ethylene, which naturally speeds ripening. One caution: avoid eating tomatoes that remain distinctly green in large areas, as they can contain solanine, a potentially toxic compound. 1. Potatoes. One of the most common daily mistakes is tucking raw potatoes into the refrigerator. It feels sensible. Cold keeps food fresh, right? With potatoes, the cold actually backfires. Low temperatures accelerate the conversion of starches into sugars. That sugar then becomes troublesome when you bake or fry the potato. At high heat, it reacts with amino acids and forms acrylamide, a toxic compound, associated with higher risks of ovarian, esophageal, kidney, and endometrial cancers. Think about those extra golden fries or chips with crispy browned edges and the occasional dark spot. That crunchy exterior many people crave is exactly where these toxins concentrate. Even worse, a potato that was refrigerated before cooking can carry elevated acrylamide levels, even if it doesn't look burnt or taste bitter. Cold storage also adds another problem. Refrigerator humidity encourages mold bacteria and fungi to grow, so the potato spoils faster, turning soft, discoloring, and ending up in the trash. The fix is simple and traditional. Keep potatoes out of the fridge in a dry, well-ventilated, dark place, ideally in a basket or cloth bag, never sealed plastic. When you eat them, keep the skins on if you can. That can help blunt blood sugar spikes. And when cooking, avoid temperatures above 180 degrees Celsius. Pay close attention because the next mistake is even more common. Here are 7 everyday foods you should stop keeping in the refrigerator. Raw potatoes can rapidly convert starches to sugars in the cold, setting the stage for higher acrylamide formation. During high heat cooking, a potential carcinogen. Tomatoes lose their signature flavor and texture when chilled, and their antioxidant powerhouse, lycopene, is short-circuited when ripening is stalled. Bread goes stale faster in the fridge as moisture migrates out of the crumb. Quality drops, and the damp environment can actually encourage mold. Unripe avocados placed in the cold have ripening enzymes disrupted, so texture suffers and valuable nutrients are diminished. Bananas darken, develop off textures and flavors, and as they get riper, their glycemic impact rises, leading to sharper glucose and insulin swings. Garlic stored improperly may sprout and see its allicin content fall, and mixtures of minced garlic and oil, left at room temperature, can create conditions that risk botulism. Honey hardens and turns grainy through crystallization in the cold, and overheated attempts to fix it strip away enzymes and antioxidant activity. If you recognize yourself in any of these habits, do not be hard on yourself. Most people do them with good intentions. Now that you know what really helps, a few simple changes will better protect both your food and your health. Tell me in the comments which of these you use to refrigerate without realizing the downside. Do you typically chill any of these items because it seemed like the right move? If this guide was useful, like the video, share it with someone in your family, and subscribe to our channel. See you in the next one.